Well, that's a pretty good question, and it's actually it's one that I can tell you that one of the better things I was able to do as a scout was read players. I'm not talking about tools or tools are obvious, right? They're obvious. Now, where the project to, that takes some art, the role building, that takes some art, but reading a player is something I just innately could do. I don't know why that is. I will tell you this. Anytime a player says, I'm not ready, I got a question. Anytime. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm not ready. Okay. I got a question. Anytime a player says, I don't want to be seen, that's a humongous flag.
Wait a second. Are you telling me that you've heard players say this?
Well, what you hear is things like overexposed. Well, overexposed only happens if you're not very talented.
Sure.
Okay. So if you're not very talented, you got to hide. I get it. You got to pick and choose when you are. But if you're a good player, what are you hiding for? Well, you're hunting for a game all the time. You're playing constantly. And the comfort level that comes with players who always show up, who, they call it in the big leagues, we say post, right? Always post. Players that always show up, they can be there every day. When they're going to be around. It's an impact. They're going to contribute. They're going to hustle. Those guys are the ones that get paid and they make it. The ones that say, I'm listening to, and I'll say this too, just another way. Because what they're not saying is I'm afraid, but the answers are I'm afraid, right? I don't want to do this because I'm not ready. Or my pitching coach says, which you get all the time, my pitching coach says, right? Or this guy said. To me, that's like you're off the list. Like I may not go tell anybody else you're off the list unless, but in my head, you're like, I'm done, right? Because I'm not interested in players who are afraid of the ball or afraid of the ballpark. I'm not. I'll give you an example. We have this event coming up at Globe Life. I've got some kids who are not class of 24 that are begging to get into this thing, begging, and they're talented, and it's not for them just yet. But they're screaming to get into this thing because they want to prove themselves against the talent that's in that event. And then you got other kids or other players who are fighting their state associations, if you will, like literally fighting to get in there, right? Whether you play or not, man, I'm good. Like we're in. And then you have players who run a little. And I'm not just talking about that event. I'm talking about in general when I say that. They run. Right? Why? I don't think I can do this. If you get an opportunity to compete and it's in the timing that you should be in the timing to do it, and I'm talking about an early event or even end of summer event. I'm not talking about something in December or November when most people should be down. I'm talking about, bookending events, right? Because you see this at the end of the summer all the time. Oh, he's tired. For what? He's 17 years old. What is he tired for? I want to hear it. Okay, 17. I didn't know what tired meant at 17. I was going to the cage at midnight, hitting, I can't tell you where. Well, I guess I can in the age of NIL. I can do it now. Back then, I couldn't do it. But the age of NIL, UCLA, I was able to get into UCLA and a couple other schools at will to hit at midnight to the point where the cops knew, hey, the campus cops, hey, Jeremy, what's up, man? At midnight. Okay, because you're fighting to get better, and you're looking for a game, you're hunting for a ballpark. Tired doesn't enter your mind. Building back and building up doesn't enter your mind, right?
So for you, this is a confidence and character kind of a thing. Like that's the big one for you.
Okay, we'll use an example. When the bell rang for Globe Life, I'm not singling anybody else out besides these couple of guys. Slade Caldwell and David Hogg said, "Can we use aluminum bats?" It wasn't like, can we play? It wasn't like, we'll let you know. It was like, can we use aluminum? Because these are college guys and we're going into our season, right? The answer was, of course, we're going to be there. That indicator says we're going to go ahead and do this. When you are a player who doesn't have that enthusiasm for the opportunity, it tells me you're hiding something, okay? And it doesn't matter who you are. I heard one player who's going to remain nameless said, I've done everything I need to do. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. No, you haven't, because the draft is 6 months away, buddy, okay? It hasn't. And you need to be in a position to always advance the good days and the bad days. As a scout, you learn more from the bad days than you do from the good days.
Right.
Because, so Vern Followell, who was a twin scout for a lot of years, used to say this to us as young scouts. And Mike Ratcliffe used to say this too. He'd say, If a guy had a good day at the ballpark, so what? You know why? Because it doesn't get any easier. They're supposed to dominate. They're supposed to, if they're prospects, they're supposed to dominate in high school and they're supposed to dominate in college because it didn't get easier. It just doesn't. If a guy has a bad day, show me that. Show me what a guy can do when he's struggling, how a guy's going to compete. Show me how a guy's going to rebound. Show me his resiliency. That's how you learn. You don't learn from a guy that goes out and, as Sammy Hughes would say, who's now a cross-checker with the Giants, would say, melt 4 balls. Like, so what? It's great. It's a good swing, right? But you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do it. So when you look at red flags, for me, the makeup is always going to be the separator. It's not going to be the 70 raw. It's not going to be the 60 arm. That's great. Put them in the bag, and that's nice. But the road to the big leagues is littered with guys that didn't make it that were 5-tool athletic studs. And the ones that show up are the guys like Adam Frazier, who your boy over here had in the 2nd round. Okay. So why? Not because he was a dude, not because he was the flashiest guy in the field, because the kid could hit, he competed, he didn't take plays off, he could play short if he had to, probably end up at second, and he could use the whole field and control the strike zone.